You have now entered the cosmic radio receptors of KCIW 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's fantastic program. I'm Dr. Gigi, and my co-host is, as always, Jacques Kepner. How are you today, Jacques?
I'm doing fine, Doctor. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show. Special thanks to sound engineers Tim Bozak, Ray Simon. I think Michael Gorse is somewhere out there, and we got a bunch of listeners on the listening to the show. You're hearing this live syndicated show on KCIW in Brookings, Oregon, and that said, the same syndicated show will be rebroadcast in exactly 1 week from now, each and every Wednesday at 8 a.m. KZZH. 96.7 FM in Eureka, Humboldt, and then a few hours later at 1 p.m. on my old alma mater, KFUG 101.1 FM in Crescent City. So now you know, Dr. Gigi and I have your coast covered. Okay, what medical marvels and good medicine and health tips does my German medical doctor, patent-holding scientist, and university professor have for us today on this week's edition of Dr. Gigi, or MD Gigi, pardon me.
We're going to be talking about the kidneys.
The kidneys, your favorite.
The kidneys.
She loves talking about kidneys.
Favorite organs. Because they are greatly underrated in what they do for us. So, First of all, the kidneys are two large bean-shaped organs located just barely below the rib cage on the back on either side of the spine. Each kidney is roughly the size of a large fist and weighs about 1/4 pound.
Ooh, a kidney quarter-pounder in a butt bun. Yummy. Not really. Quarter-pounder, okay?
Each kidney contains about 1 million so-called nephrons, which are the functional units, meaning that's where the kidney function gets its function from. They are responsible for getting the kidney's magic done, as said below, coming up. Drum roll. So it includes the blood filtration, reabsorption of certain substances, and secretion of others.
When you're born, you actually have 4 kidneys, doctor. But as you age, 2 of them become adult knees. Specific kidney joke. That's pretty good. All right.
Each kidney filters about 50 gallons of blood daily.
Wow.
Producing about 1.5 quarts of urine.
Oh, you're in trouble.
So what gets filtered through these nephrons? Get this. Basically, everything contained in the blood gets squozen through the nephrons.
Squozen through? That's German talk.
Squeezed. Squozen, I think, is real. It's correct. Except the blood cells and large proteins. They don't fit through those pores. After filtering everything through, the kidneys then go ahead and get everything back of what we do not want to lose. So water comes back in, sugar comes back in, amino acids, electrolytes, such as sodium, potassium, calcium, phosphate, etc. And some substances we don't want to get back, like waste products such as urea from protein metabolism, or uric acid from nucleic acid metabolism, and drug byproducts.
Wow. Were you aware, doctor, that England has no kidney bank? But it does have a liver pool. I'm trying to be so serious today. We got some serious fun times ahead.
All right. Well, you kind of got me stopped there in my element. So wait. There's more.
Okay, tell
us. The kidneys also get rid of hydrogen ions, which is H+, is an acid, and reabsorb bicarbonate, which is negatively, it's a base thing, to get our blood in a perfect pH balance. So our blood is always around the pH of 7.4.
Wow. I thought it was much lower than that, but that's okay.
The kidneys are also the main blood pressure regulators.
Wait, stop.
Yeah.
Wait. They regulate our blood pressure, you're telling me?
Yes, the long distance, the long-term blood pressure. There's always the heart. People think it's done by the heart, which is only a very short-term regulator. Like when we're working out, our blood pressure has to go up. But really the long-term, for example, the long-term is done by the kidneys.
Oh, didn't know that.
They release the enzyme renin, which activates the so-called renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
Okay, doctor.
I know it's long, but I mean, that's important to know.
It controls it.
And that's what controls our blood pressure, because it balances blood volume and sodium and other electrolyte levels in the kidneys.
Okay.
Very cool, right?
Wow, that's wild.
The kidneys are also part of the endocrine system. What is an endocrine system?
Yeah,
well,
what
they
is the
make
endocrine system?
they make hormones. The endocrine system makes hormones.
Okay.
So the kidneys make erythropoietin,
Nothing.
which stimulates, get this, the red blood cell production
I know where that is, in your bones.
in the bone marrow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's crazy.
They also make another hormone, calcitriol, that us lay people call vitamin D.
C. Oh, D. Darn it.
Vitamin D
Mixed
is
up.
a hormone, believe
It
it or
is?
not.
Really?
And it maintains bone and muscle health.
Hey, doctor, if you had to choose just one body part that had the ability to smell, would you pick your nose?
Okay, I also have a fun fact.
Okay, come on. Hit me
share.
with your best shot.
The yellow color in the urine
Yeah.
comes from a pigment called bilirubin. The bilirubin is derived from a breakdown of old red blood cells.
Wow.
Now, this is the fun fact. Listen,
Kind of weird.
interesting and fun. The bilirubin has to get altered in the liver first to be excreted in the urine. If that's not the fun part, if the liver is not working, the bilirubin gets excreted in the feces instead, which will then turn tan or yellowish in color, and the urine will turn brown because the yellow is not there
A
anymore.
doctor would know these kind of interesting
cool, though?
things. You see that? She thinks that's cool. Okay, that is pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, so if your bilirubin is tan, you know what? Then maybe you should talk to your doctor, right?
Okay, the feces, but all right.
Okay, there you go. Hey, what kind of texture are the kidneys, doctor? I was once told when I had kidney cancer 24 years ago that they are like giant sponges inside. Is that true?
So the kidneys are themselves very solid. They have a capsule, a so-called capsule around it. It's a dense, hard organ. If you touch a
Capsule.
kidney, it's
Wow.
called a capsule. It's firm to the touch, so it's not spongy. However, you're going to be maybe talking about those nephrons. They have a glomerulus, which is the actual sponge that is the thing that filters
Okay.
through it. So it has little holes in it. It's not spongy, but it has the holes where the blood gets squozen through.
Okay, I was diagnosed with kidney cancer because I passed a stone, and then they did the routine follow-up, and that was very, very painful, that kidney stone. What are kidney stones, if you don't mind elaborating?
Kidney stones are usually a hard pebble,
Pebble, yeah.
like masses that form inside of the kidneys when, for example, the urine has high levels of oxalate. Then you have the oxalate stones or struvite stones. So any of that stuff that can crystallize out, that's what your kidney stones are.
Okay.
Usually, so you can have the calcium oxalate, which is found in meat. The oxalate is found in meats.
Yeah, but
Calcium phosphate, uric acid stones, struvite, acin.
mine were pretty small. It was
cysteine.
about the size of a pea, maybe, and he showed it to me.
Like
the
a
doctor.
pea, like the food.
Like a PEA,
like the
yeah.
pea.
Not urine. Trouble.
So yeah, they can range from the size of a grain of sand or actually size of a golf ball, but usually they're not.
Wait a minute, you say golf ball?
They're not round usually. So
yeah.
they have little, because they're crystals, so they're growing in all kinds of like staghorn type. The struvite
Kind of
stones
weird,
can look
strange
like
shape,
staghorns.
kind of like Ray
because-
Simon's. Sad. Okay, but if you said a golf ball size, I mean, seriously, how would that possibly? That would be a hole in one, right? I mean, it would cause a hole.
Yeah, so you told me
could that
that you
possibly-
thought it might kind of get squozen through the skin or something. all
Well,
of a
it
sudden.
hurts so bad that and the doctor said it's because it's not following a path. Like
Yeah,
it's-
well, it does. It has to follow a path because otherwise it won't come out. If it stays there, then actually one has to go do a lithotripsy or something to destroy the kidney stones, and then little pieces come out. But if it does get past, it has to pass through wherever the pee goes, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it is. It can be very painful. It can be painful after you pass it because you have irritated the walls. For example, the ureter walls quite a bit because they had to stretch to get that stone passed through.
Okay, I walked into a bar and ordered a pint of less. The bartender asked me, "What's less?" "I don't know," I said, "but Dr. Gigi specifically told me to start drinking less." Okay. What else? Is kidney cancer on the rise, Doc?
Well, kidney cancer rates have been going up like all the other cancers, but all other cancers really have gone up in a faster rate. So even though it has gone up less drastically than other cancers. So we're thinking maybe that imaging, like you were diagnosed with imaging for something not really related for cancer,
Right.
has made it less likely to die from cancer, but really we detect it more or earlier stages, the cancer that is, but you also detect the stones then faster. Now, risk factors for cancer include smoking, believe it or not, obesity, and some other hereditary conditions.
Okay.
It's for the cancer and the stones,
Another
believe it or
reason
not.
to not smoke if you smoke, even if you smoked a long time, it's okay. It's always never too late to stop.
Right, yeah.
And obesity, well, we just got to run more and keep ourselves better shape and eat better in the United States. Doctor, when you die, what part of your body dies the very last?
Which one?
The pupils in your eyes, because they dilate. Okay. All righty. Okay, thank you for that entertaining description and talk about kidneys, your favorite organ in the body. All right, isn't it fascinating in this Halloween season that we're in that, well, let me start this over again. I've got chapters 1 and 2 in this prologue.
Okay.
It's an important prologue.
Mm-hmm.
First and foremost, I have this disclaimer to make that when we had today's originally scheduled guest cancel just 1.5 weeks ago, I needed to act on Plan B. And that happens from time to time and book new guests on very short notice. That said, it is completely coincidental that they should appear on the show during this Halloween week, and that's true. But that got me thinking. So here is chapter 1 of my prologue. Well,
Yeah.
isn't it fascinating in this Halloween season that staged zombies and skeletons crawl from graves and haunted cemeteries and houses? The dead and dying are fully embraced during this strange time of year. It seems everyone is out for a good scare. Ghosts and monsters populate every other front yard, and horror movies stalk the big screens. Have you noticed that this season keeps growing longer and longer each year? Like September 1st, when it was like back to school, I noticed the first stuff in the grocery store with ghosts and big bags of candy.
Witches.
Right, way early. What I'm trying to say is the macabre aspects of death isn't just accepted during this time, it's outspokenly glorified during these cool, crisp fall days. Here's a question for you. Why don't we give candy skulls and fake eyes and severed fingers and bloody spiders to one another on Valentine's Day? Right? Well, if we did, people would say how crude and rude and how horrible such a thing would be. The reality is talking about death during any other time of the year is pretty much taboo. People don't want to talk about it, and if they do, it's in whispers. Simply stated, folks, they just tend to turn away and walk away from anything related to death. How many cocktails and dinner parties have you attended where everyone's eagerly discussing the more visceral aspects of death and dying?
Oh my God.
I assure you they are rare indeed. Chapter 2. There are very few professions that require a person to meet others at their most fragile moment in that vulnerable time between death and burial and beyond. 2 of these professionals that live in our midst, who laugh and shop and dine and commune beside us, join us in the KCIW studio today to talk about death. As many of you know, Dr. Gigi is a co-medical director and physician for hospice in Northern California and Southern Oregon, and she deals with the dying, but not the dead. Sure, she has signed dozens of death certificates, but the process and the ritual of receiving the dead are what today's 2 guests do best. They spend their days not in avoidance of death, but in humble dialogue with it. They are stewards of life's final passage. They are guides through the often blinding fog of loss. In communities up and down our rugged coast, people like Mary Fox and Jake Boulay.
Boulay.
Boulay. Walk daily along that thin strip of sand between the forest of life and the crashing surf of death. It takes a particular courage to stand and walk that emotional strip between life and death and, well, not look away. They meet all types of peoples and families, oftentimes in the deepest sorrow, and they gently guide them through the mysteries and the rituals of death. My florist in training experiences a few years ago had me visiting funeral homes in the Midwest every day, and that gave me the humbling chance to observe the dead in their silent encore on the final decorated stage of life. Funeral homes, I learned, were places of clean transitions. They bridged tears and sorrows with solace, approbation, and always, always remembrance, either good or bad. In some, compassionate providers like Mary and Jake often make it the impossible seem bearable, one deep breath at a time. So without any more roughage from me, Dr. Gigi and I wish to extend a very warm salutation to Mary and Jake. Welcome to the Doc and Jacques Radio Variety Show, you two.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Gigi, lead off the questions for our guest.
All right. We'll start with Mary. Where were you born and raised?
Born in Southern California in Alhambra. Grew up in Northern California, mostly Redding, from Paradise up to Redding, and went to college at Chico State.
Chico State, I did too.
When it was still Chico State, not Chico University, California.
You're
Chico.
Right. They had Pioneer Days back
We did.
then.
They were fun.
I remember the party.
What brought you here to
Actually,
lovely area?
my husband and I came to visit a friend who lived here over a Labor Day weekend, and the question was posed, what would it take to get us to move here? And we said, a job and a place to stay. And before the weekend was over, we had both.
Oh,
Wow.
So we packed up and moved over here in the fall of 1970.
Oh, wow. It's been a minute.
It has.
Wow.
Jake, up to you now. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Bend, Oregon, and I went to school, graduated high school. Then I took about a year off just to figure out what I wanted to do, and then I went ahead and served an apprenticeship into mortuary, and then I, of course, graduated college up in Portland, Oregon. But yeah, that's my hometown.
Ben,
Bend,
you've
Oregon.
seen the changes in Bend.
I have
you
seen-
not?
yes.
Right. It's so on fire. Right
Very much so. I mean, I just went there a couple of years ago to visit family, and
It's different.
I cannot believe how
Totally
much
different,
it's
man.
changed. And I haven't been back in about 10 years, so I mean, it was a little expected
Wow.
for the surprise.
It's like 90,000.
Yeah, but I still know where everything is, though.
There you go. Cool.
Now, what are your respective titles and positions, ladies first?
I guess technically you would call me an administrative assistant. I make phone calls, I book appointments, I do data entry, I greet people at the door and offer them coffee and water and
There
tea
you
and
go.
hand out hugs and general flunky.
Did you say handout hugs?
Yeah, hand out hugs.
There you go. You greeted us when we first walked in
Yeah.
and inquired about having you on the show a couple
Yeah.
years ago. So this is very good.
Jake?
I am the funeral director and the manager. I also have a license that I carry as an embalmer as well. But my general duties is, coordinating and making arrangements with the families, just being on call 24/7, responding to any calls that we get in Curry County, whether it's hospice or, Curry County dispatch, and also pre-planning the actual funerals themselves, preparation of the decedents. So, yeah, there's a lot that's involved with, I guess mortician would be the general title for all of it.
On call 24/7 every
24/7
day?
every day.
Wow,
Yes,
doctor.
ma'am. Yep.
At least you don't have it so
OMG.
bad.
Yeah.
And
Oh
we're
my
talking about this, folks. So let me put this in because it was my fault for not introducing them correctly. They are with Redwood Memorial Chapel here in Brookings, Oregon, but there is funeral chapels all over the United States and up and down our coast for sure. So Redwood Memorial Chapel, go ahead, Gigi.
Right. Would have been my next question. What inspired you to get involved with Redwood Memorial?
I didn't invite the job. I was working at a local florist, and the lady who started the Redwood Memorial Chapel came to introduce herself. And a couple of years down the road, she came and spoke with my boss at the florist and said, I know the florist business is slowing down. Could I borrow Mary part-time? And my boss said, oh, of course. And then she said, maybe I should ask Mary. That was 2007, and I have worked part-time or full-time at the funeral home ever since.
Wow.
So I didn't even apply for the job. It was just handed to me.
So when you were young, you were not thinking about that being a fantastic
No,
job
when I
for
was
you.
young, I was going to be a nurse till I discovered I passed out at the sight of blood. And so my sister became the nurse, and I became a school teacher.
Oh, very cool. Till 2007, that's when the plans changed.
Well,
Yes.
the school teacher thing went away when I had kids.
Oh, I see.
And so I went to work at the florist in 1994 just
Very
for something to do. Yeah.
Very nice. How about Jake, you?
I was actually in the process of getting my Washington mortician's license.
Yeah.
I've been licensed in Oregon for many years, but I was working on getting a license up in Washington, and I was living up in Long Beach, Washington at the time in 2017, I believe. And so what happened was the employer that I was currently working for had encouraged me, just constantly encouraging me to relocate and go back to Oregon, because he said, Long Beach, Washington, it's not for a person like you. You're a young man. You need to go out and start a family. You need to go to a place where, where there's just not anything out here for you. So he really encouraged me to just.
Now, is
So Long Beach is even smaller than
Wait,
Brookings?
that's across from Astoria,
I would say Brookings is probably smaller than Long Beach, Washington.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about Long Beach right across the bridge from Astoria?
We're talking about the peninsula.
Right. So
yeah,
you were
right.
at one end of the state, at
Yeah.
the very top end of the state, and
Yep.
here you come
All the way down.
to the other
The
end.
hip and
out into-
happening
Yeah.
place.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
so,
cool.
So yeah. Anyways, after constant encouragement, he wasn't like, he's just encouraging me. Jake, you really need to get out of here. This is just not a place for a young guy like you. So, anyways, I just went ahead and started applying back in Oregon, various mortuaries, just anywhere that was anywhere along the coast, because I
Yeah.
really love the coast. And
Yeah.
and then so all of a sudden, Redwood Memorial Chapel, Travis, the owner at the time, had called me up and said, "Yeah, I'd like to interview you." And then after the interview went well, the next question was, "When can you start?
Wow.
When can you come down here?"
So for you never had a career change, actually, right? You were always wanting to be a mortician, right?
Yeah. After I graduated high school, after thinking about options and ideas, originally I was thinking about wanting to become a surgeon or a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But then the mortician industry I just sort of fell into it. And out of the blue one day, I just thought what it would be like to work in a mortuary. And so I went in and applied for an apprenticeship position, and I worked for about a year. And there was a lot of experience in that whole first year that I was working. I mean, just things that I just never thought I would expect. And then here I am, and that was like in 2002 when I first started my apprenticeship.
Wow.
And I've been in the industry ever since.
But you did go to college.
Yeah.
What did you study then?
I studied in the it was a funeral service program at Mount Hood
okay.
Community
So in
College.
the system. Oh,
Yeah,
very
yeah. They had a funeral program, and I served a 2-year program, and then took my national boards, and then applied to the state Oregon boards. So I got licensed in Oregon because I wanted to stay in Oregon. I mean, my friends and family
Right on.
were here. Yeah.
Good. Smart idea.
So yeah.
When you were young, Mary, did you ever think you'd be doing what you're doing today?
No.
How about you, Jake?
No,
Maybe no.
No, I had never thought.
Yeah. And isn't there a college? I think the University of San Francisco, right, in California, has a mortuary
Yes.
science program.
Yep.
One of the few in the United States,
Yes,
if I'm
yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. Is there any option to a funeral at home? Well, let me say this different. Can people make their own arrangements and bury their own dead?
Absolutely.
You're kidding.
Absolutely.
I did not think that would be possible? I mean, how often does it actually happen?
Oh, very, very rare. I mean, in my 25 years of experience, I've probably dealt with maybe like 1 or 2 arrangements like that where the family did everything or they arranged to have other party members be involved in taking care of certain things. So
Can you bury grandma in your backyard here in Oregon?
it's legal. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just heard today that somebody did that.
As long as it's okay with the owner of the property, then
Better be yours. Oh, does that have to be disclosed when you sell
Yes.
them?
it is true. Yeah, from my understanding, it has to be disclosed that this is a location, this is a grave where human remains are interred.
And you have to plan ahead a little bit because there are some county things that have to be done.
Yes.
Right.
So you go to the county registrar, county clerk's office, and they provide you with the packet of information. You do need a doctor to sign the death certificate, and you do need to plot the place on the property, and that's done with the assessor's office. And then it does have to be disclosed if the property's sold that there is a grave.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the issue. Yeah, I had a friend that was buried, a famous doctor was buried on his property, but his son would not disclose where he was buried on 80 acres. And it was a big hoop. This is up in Florence, Oregon, not too long ago. Hey, how are the dead moved? Okay, so first let's start off, they die at home or at rest home. What happens next?
So what we do is, from the moment we're moving the decedent from the place of death, we go ahead and we have equipment that we use to transport the deceased back to the funeral home with. So what we generally do is we have a sheet or a blanket that we wrap the decedent up with, and then we move them onto a cot that we have, and then we use that. We just transfer the cot in our van, and we just transport the decedent back that way. And, it's very circumstantial because sometimes people could be either deceased in their bed, they might be on the floor. I mean, you just never know where they might be. And so we are prepared for that. We have equipment that we use for, those kinds of circumstances if they're not deceased in a bed, that sort of thing.
Wow. So you don't have a body bag, you have...
Oh, yeah, we have body bags.
You have body bags?
Oh, yeah, for the real, difficult, cases that we deal with.
And if somebody wanted, honestly, I knew a woman who requested that they take her out in a pink body bag in South Carolina. I knew this woman, and supposedly they did that. They were able to, she told them long enough in advance. Now, that is pretty wild. Okay, how are they, if you get a body here and they need to be flown or taken to
Florida.
Missouri or Florida, they just put them on planes, or they're special trucks? Or?
It has to be a known shipping airport. So you can't just go to any airport in the state of Oregon. I mean, it has to be what's called a known shipping. So, for example, I mean, if somebody needed to be shipped out of state, we would have to transport them to the Portland airport because the airports up there are listed as known shippers. So, unfortunately, we can't go to Medford or we can't go to another small airport to fly out the deceased. And so that's the important thing. Yeah, they have to be a known shipper. And then whether it's a casket or if it's just the deceased themselves, we have a special container that they're transported with. So if the deceased is in a casket, for example, the casket would be placed inside of what's called an air tray, and that is a requirement that the airport has for transporting the casket.
Right. Yeah.
And then if the body is not in a casket, then they're just put into a special kind of combo unit that's, just, requested container for shipping with the airport. Yeah.
Does that matter what the people are dying from, or if it's like an infectious disease, does that make a difference?
It does make a difference. Now, if bodies are shipped out of state, we always have to have them embalmed. And that's because of the state requirement that we have. So if a person is placed in, a refrigeration holding facility, and they're taken out of that facility prior to the disposition, whether it's burial or cremation, they can only stay out for a period of 6 hours. And then after that 6th hour, the remains have to be either placed back in refrigeration or carry out with the disposition, whether it's burial or cremation. So that's why we have to have the body embalmed, and that's why I explained to the families that is why it's a requirement. Generally, embalming is only required. I recommend it if it's either if the body is being shipped out of state, or if families are saying that they're planning on a viewing or visitation, but it's not going to be for a few weeks out because maybe they're waiting on family and friends to come into town for their service.
Do you have refrigerated units there at?
Yeah, we don't just automatically embalm everybody that's brought into our care. We have a refrigeration holding facility, which is required by law that we have to keep them prior to the. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we got to break right here real quick, folks, because time flies when we're having fun. It's already that mid-break time here on Doc and Jacques live radio show, proudly broadcasting from the KCIW 100.7 FM studios in lovely coastal Brookings, Oregon, and spread up and down the coast. The list of major sponsors for our community radio station are Advanced Airlines, flying in and out of nearby Crescent City to Oakland and L.A. 7 days a week. Michelle Bupert, hello, Michelle, and our own vibrant local Curry County Chamber of Commerce. Nick and Lisa Rail and the PPA, or the Partnership for the Performing Arts. And lastly, my dear co-host, Dr. Gigi Reed, MD, and yours truly, Jacques Kepner, on behalf of KCIW. Thanks to all of you. Sorry for running a little late, and apologies to the engineering crew in the booth next to us. I'm fascinated by
fascinating.
Right, how fascinating it is. Gigi, you jump ahead and ask them that next time, the question about what the difference is. What's a coroner? You ask them those questions. I think this is going to be really interesting.
Okay. So I'm going to ask what he tells me to ask. What's a coroner? No, I'm kidding. So tell me what to ask.
Right here.
Okay, so what is a coroner?
Well, a coroner is somebody that takes care of investigating the cause of what the deceased passed away from. A medical examiner is a physician, a doctor, but a coroner is an elected official that is responsible for investigating the cause of death.
So is that only in Oregon and California, or is it everywhere in the states? In any state?
My understanding is anywhere in the state.
But Oregon does not have a coroner system. Oregon is a medical examiner system.
No, that's right.
And California is coroner.
Okay.
So a coroner is a private individual, and they may or may not have a medical background. Mm-hmm. But if a medical examiner is a physician, is a doctor.
So a coroner who has to possibly investigate the death of why a person died, the cause of it, without a medical degree, how can that be? I mean, it's not an anatomist, right?
They would look at medical records and law enforcement reports and request things like toxicology.
Okay, so that's for sleuthing only. It's not a normal investigation. Well, so what is a mortician then?
Yeah, what's a mortician?
So the mortician's responsibility is for caring for the deceased and the surviving family members and arranging for the disposition. So we don't investigate the causes like a coroner does. We just take care of the decedent and the surviving family members. Obviously, it's more about the surviving family members because there's only so much that can be done to a deceased body. But yeah, that's the difference between the mortician and coroner.
Wow. So are there still autopsies performed for unknown causes, or anybody can ask for an autopsy?
Oh, yeah, anybody. Yeah, if a family can arrange to have an autopsy, even if the medical examiner or the coroner deems it unnecessary, usually they have a background with medical record information, and if the family wants to still arrange a private autopsy, they can legally do that. They'd have to pay for it.
Yeah. I
course.
see.
Okay. And from my understanding, it's pretty expensive.
Yeah. Now, you're also an embalmer, and you're licensed to do that. Mm-hmm. Is that, can you work in any state once again? Is it because it's the same?
Yeah, I can go ahead and reinstate, if I wanted to practice in another, like in
Oh,
California.
you have to ask for
Yeah.
one.
I actually, let me back. I'm sorry. I actually have an embalmer's license in California and in Oregon. So if I wanted to practice embalming in like another state, like Idaho or Washington, then I would have to reinstate my license with their, with the board and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, I took a national exam when I graduated high school. So it made it so if I wanted to relocate to another state, it would be much easier for me to, just reinstate my license rather than to have to go to school and everything all over again.
So your embalming is hands-on. I mean, that's where you're physically either draining the body of
preservation process.
Embalming purposes, which has been around forever.
Oh, yeah.
Forever and ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mummies.
Yep. Since the ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is every mortician an embalmer then, or
a mortician is more like a funeral director and an embalmer, where that's the term for mortician. That's usually somebody who carries both of those licenses. So I mean, you could still be a funeral director and call yourself a mortician, sure, but usually though, if you're licensed as an embalmer and a funeral director, that's the term for mortician.
Oh,
the full time.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about AI? Has AI had any impact on the funeral home business? How about you, Mary? Any
we were talking about that, yeah.
Yes and no. I get a lot of ads in my email from people who want to hook me up with some AI program to write our obituaries. To be really honest, an obituary is a very personal thing.
Right.
And my preference would be for the family to write it. And if they need a little help with grammar and spelling and spell check and all of that, then have someone do it. But
I'm surprised it's not always the families who are doing it, actually. So that's not the norm?
no, well, yes and no, because I get a lot of people who go, if I give you a list of things, will you write the obituary for me? It's like, yeah, but I didn't know the person very well. I would much rather that the family would write it, and then if we need to kind of put things together in a little better flow, yeah, that's helpful. But AI, not really, other than filling out a form and sending it in, and that's not really AI. That's just form filling.
They have AI mechanical wombs now that they're developing in China, where they're basically growing a baby in a perfect womb setting. There's no threat of AI robots taking over your job as an embalmer, Jake, or is there? Is there just It's just something that's always going to be a need.
Yeah, there's always going to be somebody that'll need to do it, and I look at the idea of if they had robots to help go out on removals and help living, or moving people that are really, really heavy, or, because, that's a physical, work hazard, a possible work hazard. I mean, lifting with your back and, I mean, a lot of work involved in, you have to be strong and physically fit to do that kind of thing. So,
yeah. What direction is it tending to the funerary arts? Is it continuing pretty much in the old established way where they're going to come in? If I'm talking about full body, not a cremation. We'll get into cremation in just a moment. Mm-hmm. So they come in and they want the full Monte. They want to get They want to have the body embalmed and placed in a casket and placed in 6 feet under. We'll get to that too. That's the traditional. Is there any changes on that going any direction, or is that pretty much the steadfast way?
From my understanding, and based on a lot of experience that I've had with other directors who have been so much old school, if you will, that's really where I was trained and learned from, because that's really meaningful. I mean, they're not treating family members like they're just some number. You know, it's very a personal, meaningful connection that you're having with the family by just, keeping it simple with them, just doing exactly what their wishes are and what their request is. And if they have need any guidance or direction, that's our responsibility to help them out with that.
Now, Mary, when people come in and they tell you that somebody died, and so do they sometimes ask you what to do? What would you do? Or do they usually know this is what I want?
Most of them know what they want.
Yeah.
There, an occasional person will say, well, if this was your mom, what would you do? And I try to be very honest with them that based on my upbringing, this is what I would have done if it were my choice. But I turn right around and say, but this is not my mom. This is yours. And this really needs to be what you want to do and what you think your mom would have wanted.
Yeah.
So the facilities here at Redwood Memorial Chapel have what, refrigerator? You have refrigerated units there?
Yep.
You have what I've always seen when I've been to a mortuary, they have the slab where the bodies are put out and embalmed. You have that.
Yeah, it's a preparation room. Yep.
And then when we visited last year, a year and a half ago, we went into your showroom, which shows the kind of woods and the caskets, and it was fascinating to see this. And it's really a full program that you're kind of investing in. Let's pull back. What percentage of people are getting cremations, either one of you, these days?
Probably 98% cremation.
Yeah,
What?
just a direct cremation.
Very much.
Why?
Finances.
Finances is a lot of it. Just the trend away from family connections. There are more and more families that really have no connections with another generation, or where you have grandchildren that are burying grandparents and you're missing a generation in between. So I think a lot of it has to do with the fragmentation of families.
Now, do the ashes have to be picked up by somebody?
Generally by somebody, yeah, or you mail them to a cemetery. So you can do that, but generally it's a person who comes in and receives the remains.
95% cremation. Do you do cremations at Redwood Memorial?
Yep, we have 2 crematories. We have one for pets because we also take care of pets, and then obviously the other standard crematory.
And what is the cost of a standard cremation without? Let's just. What's the baseline approximately?
I would say $2,085. That's the grand total.
Under 3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it could go up depending on how fancy of a vase may be, or
how many death certificates are requested. Those are usually the only 2 factors in a cremation arrangement.
So,
or if they wanted, let's say they wanted to have a celebration of life or a memorial service, but they didn't want us involved in the service, but they wanted us to help them make the little handouts. Those are options.
So you have an attached chapel too.
Yes.
That is correct.
Where the public can actually come in and
that is
they
correct.
have their final say. And
Absolutely.
They're celebrating the life of mom or dad or whatever, whoever it is. So all 95% cremations. Wow. What's the versus what a full body burial is going to be? It used to be when I was it was like started at 15,000. Now it's like, what's the range on a full body casket? And that's
It really kind of depends on how fancy a casket you want. I mean, and it depends on the cemetery costs.
Right.
So you're paying for a plot, you're paying for the plot being open and closed, you're paying for a headstone. You're probably, depending on the area, looking at $3,000 to $5,000 at a very minimum in a smaller community.
Are we talking about just the
cemetery?
Just the plot.
And then you're looking at the basic things that we do plus the cost of a casket. So another $3,000 to $5,000 depending on how fancy a casket you want. And so you could start and probably do it at $5,000 or $6,000, or you can go to $20,000. It just depends on how much money you want to spend on it.
It was my brother when he would. His was 15,000, and it was pretty fancy. He had a permaseal casket.
And also the cost of the headstone that can also be affected.
And because granite is often imported now,
yes, you're right.
Then those prices are going up. We used to get the full thing, the headstone and the installation and the concrete and everything for about $1,100, and now most of them are $1,500 to $1,800.
Do you know anything about a green burial?
Yes.
What's a green burial? I hear this more and more. What's that?
Everything is biodegradable.
Yep.
There's nothing.
Just like our bodies.
Everything involved in a green burial, it's all biodegradable. So casket, liner, anything that the deceased is interred in. And I've even done a few green burials in the last 7 years since I've been here. And, it just can go as very minimum as just having the body wrapped up in a biodegradable shroud and then just placed directly into the grave.
Is it
Very
still a
basic.
churchyard grave, or is it behind the house grave type thing where you have the green burial?
Yeah, most cemeteries have a certain section that's only for green burial, and so and then of course if the family wanted to have it on private property, if they wanted green burial, that's
right,
optional too.
Now, should people plan ahead and purchase their funeral package
Absolutely.
early?
I couldn't stress that enough with anybody that brings that topic up with me, because number one, you have everything taken care of ahead of time, and number two, when the time comes, there's not going to be any financial burden on anybody. Everything's been paid for. Everything's been taken care of. So I can't stress it enough. If anybody wants to pre-plan or talking about pre-planning, I'd say go ahead and do it, because you're doing it for the sake of your loved ones, your surviving loved ones, that it's all taken care of, and then they don't have to pay money out of their pocket to take care of the finances. And it can be, very stressful for certain people because,
definitely.
Wow. So they could come in. It's free of charge for them to come in and talk with you.
Absolutely.
Mary, everybody, you got to see Mary. I mean, she's so sweet and so accommodating and so humble. It's just, it was so nice when we walked in. Didn't know quite what we were going to do when we were asking about getting them on the show a couple of years ago, and she met us, and you put everybody at ease right away. You've had that interaction with people so much, because grieving is a huge part of the dying process, right? So, boy, what an aspect! I bow before you.
Is there some surprising or heartwarming part of being a worker at Redwood Memorial Chapel?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, even from day one, working in the industry many years ago, I always get the compliments, the feedback, the hugs, from family members, the thank you, the appreciation. See, I'm not in this industry for, money or anything like that. I'm in it for the compassion that I bring to the people when they're going through a really difficult time. And then they're saying back to me, thank you for everything you've done. That's what it's all about for me, honestly. And that's why I've been in the industry still, and continue to never stop learning. So yeah,
wow.
I think that's the one thing that keeps me in the industry, is getting that feedback from.
Are you doing
people.
the actual cremations too? So are you the person that actually?
I do it
fire
all.
up the evidence?
I have an associate that helps me, but I do it all. I take care of it all, and as far as I'm concerned, it's based on how I was taught. I remember years ago, a guy used to say to me, Jake, if you can treat everybody as if they were a member of your own family,
right on.
You should be okay. And I have to admit, I've taken care of a lot of families that are not happy with me, and that's okay. I don't take that personal, but it's just, I just have to remind myself that I can't please everybody, and it is very stressful, and for knowing that you didn't make somebody's day, or you're getting threatened with lawsuit or whatever.
Wow.
It's not it's difficult, but I try to shake that off.
At the end of the day, it's all shakes out.
Exactly, and then that's a good balance that we have, because most of the time, most of the families that we work with are always expressing gratitude and thanks, versus the ones that are not happy to see us. And again, Mary and I have dealt with a lot of families that, we could do anything and everything, but we just couldn't satisfy their
humility. Reigns.
And they're in the situation that's not them. They're not themselves.
Exactly.
Right?
They're grieving. They're going through a very different process, and I have to know and remind myself that they're not thinking about, don't take it personal. They're grieving. They're going through a very difficult time.
Gigi and I have both lost partners in our adult lives not too terribly long ago, and the grieving process is so very, very real. And we live in an older community here.
Yeah.
And along the coast, a lot of retarees that are getting used to this.
Yes.
Is there any way you could, you're not supposed to spread your own ashes? I've heard recently that you can't go get out of Sport Haven Beach.
Yes, you can.
Oh, you can? And spread the ashes, okay.
Absolutely. California has very strict rules, and you have to get permits, but Oregon, the rule is you can you can scatter the ashes on the beach, you can scatter them in the woods. Don't make a big show of it and offend somebody, and don't put them all in one spot, because if you put them all in one spot, it's now a grave. But if you're scattering them on the beach or in the river or in the woods, then it's acceptable. Just don't go out and on a windy day go, here you go, Grandma, and then it's blowing in the wind in somebody else's face.
Yeah, not. What's the average? How many is it? The remains? A couple pounds? 5 pounds? Or ashes?
6 to 7.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just it depends on the bone structure of the individual.
Big boned.
And so again, I want to come back. One last thing. We're gonna finish. We had about 5 minutes here, or at least. Going back to pre-planning. If someone wants to come and pre-plan, they want to just discuss the options. It's a good time. Earlier, the better.
Sure.
Before you're sick, whatnot. Is there any option where you have payment plans where you say, okay, I when I die, I want to be buried this way, and it's going to cost me $5,000. Here's $5,000 now. Will that rate ever go up? Do people do that? Are there those options? Are there payment plans?
So when you do a pre-plan and you pay for it in advance, what you're doing is making a contract between yourself and the funeral home that for the money that you've put down and the interest that it gains, that they will provide those services for you at no additional
So
cost.
5 years, 6 years, 10 years will go by, and it's still going to be the same price, whatever you paid.
And we have plans at the funeral home that were done back when I came in 2007 that somebody hasn't cashed in yet, so they're still alive.
Wow,
Oh,
how
cool.
cool.
And so at whatever the price was then, that's what they'll pay for that. Now, if they come along and the family says, oh, but I need another half dozen death certificates, that's on them. They'll have to buy those extra certificates.
How about the graves site itself? That's a one-time payment, right?
Yes.
Well, that's with the church, though, right?
There was the cemetery here, W.J. Ward. You buy the plot.
Yeah, it doesn't go through you, though, right?
No.
No,
It's
that goes through the
separate.
cemetery.
Yeah.
So one-time shot usually, and
Yeah, they pay for the plot, and that covers the plot and the maintenance of the cemetery.
forever and ever.
Yeah.
So supposedly.
Perpetual.
Perpetual. And that might cost anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers here.
Yeah, well, I think W.J. Ward has different prices for residents that have lived here for a very long time versus residents that had just moved into Curry County.
Interesting.
So I think it's
There's a resident and a non-resident,
like a discount thing.
where the residents pay less because we pay taxes to the cemetery district.
Wait, there's no taxes in Oregon. Shoot.
I know, darn.
Are you a member of the Chamber of Commerce here?
No.
We are not.
All right. Well, then.
Well, that would be it would be kind of open house. Come on in, and although it's beautiful when you walk into Redwood Memorial Chapel, we were just like, it's upbeat. It's not drab. It's light, bright, happy. You're there. The smiling faces are around.
Coffee right around the corner.
A big hello or a coffee or a beverage. Come in and talk to us.
Friendly faces.
Yeah. Totally cool. And I'm glad we got to talk with you this time.
Where are you located? How can people get a hold of you?
Behind Fred Meyer. Address is 1025 Field Street, Mill Beach, Fifield, Fifield.
Okay.
And if you come around behind Fred Meyer on Mill Beach Road, Fifield tees off of that. We're the second building on the highway side.
Yeah, we're just right next door to a little white doctor's office. It's like a Anderson chiropractic, and there's like a little yoga studio on the north side of that building. And our building is a dark blue, grayish building that has a sign, Redwood.
You park right in front of it. Yeah. When we pull up in the front, there's parking for 5 or 6 cars there. What's your phone number that people
Our phone number is 541
Okay.
469 9112.
That is 541-469-9112.
That is correct.
And what about a website?
www.redwoodmemorial.net.
Okay.
N-E-T.
That's right. I looked that one up. There's a long one to do, .net. And are you on social, any social, Facebook or?
I believe that a prior owner had it set up for Facebook. I have not, and I don't think his is still active.
Okay. Is there a dying season? Is there a time of year that more people pass?
Yes.
Really?
More around the holidays, November, December,
Wow.
January. They are anticipating the holiday coming and their body just won't hold out, or they've made it through the holiday and now they're done and they've celebrated with their family and they're over it.
It's kind of like a
Right.
Yeah.
And I know in Oregon, now California's followed suit. They have the euthanasia pill, right, Doc? I mean, they
In Oregon, the right to die.
the right to die.
Is that death with
Death with
Death-
dignity.
death
That's
with
exactly
dignity,
what
yeah.
it is, yeah. Mhm.
And that must be, that's a little bit different. But with 95% cremations, this is just amazing. I think when we last talked to you, it was like 75%, or 15 years ago with my
Hasn't
friend.
gone on to 25%.
Yeah, it was like half and half. In the Midwest, I think it's a little bit lower. I think.
Yeah, I was
people-
surprised too because I remember last time I said in England, 100% is cremation. And then we were surprised that it wasn't that high here. So, yeah,
Yeah.
we must have been snoozing. I don't know.
Is really okay. We got to ask you this question. It'll be the final question. We ask a lot of our guests. What do you want your tombstone to say, regardless if you have a, are cremated or not? What would your tombstone say, Mary?
I want mine to say what my kids chose for my email, which is Mom to All.
Wow.
Yes, I was a Boy Scout leader for 20 years, and I was the mama to a whole bunch of Cub Scouts
I
and Boy Scouts.
love that. Some people just don't answer this question, but mom to all. That's sweet. How about you, Jake?
Well, it's so funny because I was reading that on the list here, and I was thinking of something very clever the other night. And
Now you can't remember it.
I just can't remember what it was, but I think it had something to do with something to do with
Dad for all.
finally asleep.
Finally
asleep.
Yeah.
He gets to rest now.
Eternal rest.
He
There you
can
go.
finally rest now.
Wow. What you
good
two are
one.
doing in our community is phenomenal. People like
Thank
you are all over this nation and all over the world. They're doing an ancient practice that you are the stewards of the dead, and through practice of the rituals that bring people full circle. So thank you both
Yes,
for coming
thank you
on.
for coming
Let's have you
in.
on once a year, get you
Interesting.
talking about the stuff. And again, the coincidental because it's Halloween. Honestly, that's not the case. All right, thanks again, Mary and Jake, for
Jake.
coming on the Doc and Jacques show.
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
All right, Doc, what
Been
do
an
we
honor.
got time for?
Fun time corner.
Fun time corner. What does that mean? You mean
That
jokes and
means
stuff?
you'll have jokes that people
Uh-oh.
please laugh at. I have some quotes.
Okay, what do you got?
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Give us another one.
The only impossible journey is the one you never begin.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I told Dr. Gigi recently that I keep thinking that I'm God. She asked me how long I'd been feeling this way. Well, obviously, since I created the sun, the moon, and the stars. Okay, what do you got?
Believe you can, and you're halfway there.
Believe you can, and you're halfway. That's a good one. I told Dr. Gigi that I was losing my memory. She asked me, when did it start? I said, when did what start? How do you know your doctor is a fake?
How?
Because they have good handwriting?
Go the extra mile. It's never crowded.
Go the extra mile. Oh, yeah, okay. I got one. I'm going to throw it out there. What's the worst thing to do after a funeral?
What?
Wake up.
You're not getting good laughs here. Do some funny.
I like that one. I thought that was
Dr.
great.
Gigi asked me to choose one body part that if I could lose, that would make me a better person. One body part that I could lose that would make me a better person.
Yeah.
I said, my spine, because it's holding me back.
Okay, one more. Come on.
What's the difference between a wedding and a funeral?
What?
Well, there's one less drunk at a funeral.
Okay.
Okay, I think we are done.
Yes,
right?
we are so done.
Thanks again, Jake and Mary, for coming on the show. Really, really interesting.
You're welcome.
You have been
Fantastic.
listening, everyone, to the Doc and Jacques show on KCRW 100.7 FM in Brookings, Oregon. We hope you have enjoyed our show as much as we have learning about the Redwood Memorial Chapel
Yeah.
with Mary and Jake.
Yes, peace and prosperity, everybody. And you gentlemen in the engineer's booth, thank you so much. And Linda out there listening for this. And Jade, I forgot, Jaden is listening today.
Oh.
And so many others. Mail us if you know of an interesting, talented person that could be on the show at docandjacques@gmail.com. Welcome Tony Durso right now on KCIW 100.7 FM. Thanks again, folks.